So you're getting a new puppy. It's decided, it's planned for, but what do you look for when you actually go to get your puppy? Let's investigate. Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pet Doc Sherlock, where we work hard to solve the mysteries of pets. If you didn't catch our previous video, I'd really encourage you to take a look at it because it's all about planning for that future family member that you've been thinking about for so long. And as we talk about in that video, a lack of planning is one of the top reasons that dogs end up in animal shelters throughout the United States. In fact, there's over 3.4 million dogs in shelters across the US. So please take a look at that video. I'll put a link in the description of this one, and I'd start there and then come back to this one. But if you've been thinking about a puppy and you've got a plan in place for that puppy, then it's now time to kind of think about the things that you should look for and look at in order to find the best puppy for you and your family. I mean, let's face it, once you're surrounded by bumbling, furry, wide-eyed little creatures, it's really hard to stay focused. So one of the first things you should really concentrate on, again, is patience. You have to be a little bit patient to find the right fit for you instead of just jumping head first and taking the first thing that you see. Because even the most grizzled Navy SEAL veteran who's seen it all has a hard time when he brings that little furry creature up to his face and it gives him a little puppy kiss right on the cheek. The only thing that he can think about is that 5-year-old girl voice in his head that's just going, okay, I'm a little bit ashamed that I'm even capable of that. But you understand what I'm saying. It's that moment when we just start following our heart instead of our brain, and it's really hard to do when you're surrounded by these tiny, fuzzy, cute little things, and they just bring out the aww in everybody. I mean, take a look at these. Okay, you good? Did you get it all out? All the cuteness overload? Alright, so now let's use our brain and think about those things that we should be paying attention to in order to make sure we make the best decision we can. So some of these things that we're about to cover don't apply to every situation because, well, sometimes people get a puppy from a breeder, rescue group, the shelter, flea market, Walmart parking lot, and sometimes they just wander up onto your porch. So this isn't an end-all be-all list of things that you must have in order to pick a good puppy. It's just something to think about and go through as you can to make sure that you make the best decision for you. Some of these things you may think about, well, that puppy doesn't fit that. And that's okay. It's just to let you know that that may be something you need to plan for in the future if it causes a problem. So, again, this isn't how to pick the perfect dog because almost every dog has its own little quirk. It's just helping you think through these things to know what may arise in the future and to pick the best fit for you and your abilities. So, let's think about this kind of first category. And that's the environment from which your puppy comes from. Again, it may be from a shelter, it may be from a rescue group, and the environment isn't as easily controlled. But especially with a lot of these things, if you're picking up a purebred dog, I'm sure you're probably spending quite a bit. And so you want to make sure that these things are in tip-top shape and as good as they can be. So let's take a look at this. Environment. So where does your puppy come from? What kind of place? Is it overcrowded? Because If it is, then too many dogs in one area can cause a whole lot of different diseases, so that would be less than ideal. Make sure it's clean. Make sure there's not a lot of urine or feces laying around, because obviously you wouldn't want to live in that, so let's not let our puppy live in that either. Make sure it's nice and open, it's not too dusty or damp. Basically just make sure it's overall clean and looks like it's something a puppy should be living in, because that'll help a lot in making sure that your puppy is healthy when you bring it home. The second thing to look at is something that, especially if it's coming from a shelter, you're not going to be able to do, but take a look at the parents, if at all possible. You want to look at them for several reasons, and one is, how healthy are they? A healthy mom likely means that her puppies are going to be healthy and they've nursed well and they've kind of started life on a good foot. And also, if she has any health concerns that might be related to older age, it's something that you might know will affect your puppy later on in life too. The other thing you want to look at is mom's behavior and attitude. Now, this kind of gets into the whole realm of nature versus nurture, how you're born versus how you're raised, and I'm not trying to say one is more important than the other, because they're both very important, but just because we pick different breeds for their particular behaviors, that is the same even if it's a mixed breed dog. We know that there's some genetic link into how they'll be predisposed or how they're kind of wired to behave. So again, you can train almost any dog out there to be the dog that you want it to be, but it gives you an indication of how easy that's going to be for you. So make sure that the mom is really easy to interact with, is not overly defensive, not overly shy, and just basically gets along with people and other dogs and her puppies as well as she could.